got my knife, I've got my Kydex here, and I've got I think this is a 12 by 12 foot piece of Kydex, is .80, and I've got the eyelets here that I'm going to be using, and I've got my little die that I'll be using also to put the rivets in. And first of all, I got to measure and cut this, and given my pattern, I'm going to make this 2.5 inches, and it's actually going to be about 5.5 inches, and this is 12 inches. So what I'm going to do is just go to my bandsaw, cut this out. Now you can score it and pop it. For me, it's just easier just to use a bandsaw. So I'm going to make that. And if one thing you've noticed on this, I've actually made it wider than that, and I got this from Gavco off of his channel, and he always uses about 3/4 of an inch play on the edge of the knife to give me plenty of room to put the eyelets. And so I'll have really about 3/4 here, 3/4 here, and 3/4 here. As you can see, I got plenty of room to make this one sheath from this half. I've got multiple knives to make, and you can see here I can make probably this is about 3. I could probably make 4 of these easy in this one sheet right here. So again, I got to be careful, make my cuts right, measure twice, 3 times, cut once. Been my dad's philosophy all the time, and I'm going to be doing that. So I'm going to go out to the bandsaw and we'll get this cut, and I'll get it cut here, and then we'll go from there. Okay, I've got my Kydex laid out here. I've got my 2 sheets, and first of all, I'm going to I measured out really 3/4 of an inch from both sides, and kind of put my blade in the middle, just kind of eyeballing it there, so I know that my knife is going to fit in there just about like that. So now I'm ready to start marking where I want my holes at, and I really recommend you go to Gavco on Channel Online, where he makes his Kydex sheaths, or all type of sheaths. It's just great videos. I'm just trying to use the methodology, the process that he uses. And what he does is kind of like the center. He kind of goes through and says, okay, here's the center of my knife here. I'm going to kind of eyeball that, and that's going to be about in this area right here. So again, he says, okay, I'm going to go and I'm going to measure about 3/4 of an inch on each side. But what I'm going to do is, since this is a smaller knife, I'm going to go really with about a 1/2 inch on each side, and have an inch over here. And there's a reason for that, is because for mounting purposes, you get small Tek-Lok, your large Tek-Lok. They're in increments of 1/2 inch to 3/4 to 1.5 inches. And I've got a large one here. Let's see here, that I'll kind of show you. And between the holes in it, through even the plastic bag, there's 1.5 inches. And he kind of goes from side to side. That is an inch right there from the side to side. So 1 to 1.5 inches as you go around is probably good. Now I may adjust this before I actually do it. So what I'm going to do is to still just try and keep between the 3/4 of an inch to the edge there, to kind of mark these. And I'm going to go really 1.5 inches, 1.5 inches, 1.5 inches, and try to go through there. So there's that's 1.5 inches right there. And then I'm going to go up there with my knife. Here's another 1.5 inches in this area here. Okay, and from this side here, I'm going to go, let's see, there's 1.5 inches there, going on up, another 1.5 inches there. And again, it doesn't have to be that specific. And again, I can adjust these from the side. What people and what I've tended to do, like on the previous sheath, I was kind of stingy about saving Kydex, and you can see right here how close this eyelet is to the sheath. I want to have plenty of room. I want it to look good. Even though this fits, it's a workable sheath. It's just something I can keep another knife that I've got in, but it's something I wouldn't take with me, something I wouldn't show off, something I definitely need to fix. But just give yourself plenty of sheath or Kydex on each side to really work with, and that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to get this done, overlay it, well, put the other piece of Kydex under it, and start drilling these first two holes on the bottom, and then I'll go from there. Okay, I'm ready to drill my eyelets out, and as you can see, I've got both my pieces, front and back pieces of the Kydex. I've just taped them together to keep them the same so I can drill through both of them at the same time. And I've got my holes marked where I'm going to go. Now, I intentionally did not, I'll have two more eyelets on top, but that's actually going to put the tightness of the retention on the knife when I slide it in and out. So I'm going to leave that out until I've formed the Kydex around the knife itself, and after that I'll put these eyelets in to give the retention for the knife blade that's going in there. And for these particular eyelets, I'm using a 1/4 inch or 1/4 inch drill bit here. So I've got a piece of wood here so I can drill into. And one thing that you've noticed is I've got again is a wood here so I can drill through and hit the wood, but also this Kydex has a tendency when you drill it to come up on the drill bit. So I've got to really hold it down. I could use a drill press, but like I said, I got a drill press that's out in the shed. It's about 50 yards from the house. I like to do smaller things in the garage, so I'm just going to use just my hand drill for this, and just really kind of hold this down until I see that. And if it was any thicker than these two pieces, I would definitely use a drill bit or a drill press to make it straight. But just for eyelets, I think I'm fine with that. So just going to line up the first hole that I want drilled on my bit. I'm going to start off slow, and I'm just going to just kind of take it easy. Okay, well, I'm through. So you get to see how fast that took, and I may need to get something to sand these little burrs off, but I'll fix that later. But you can see that the eyelets itself should go through with no problem for that, and it does. And I'll just use my little tool or the die to fold this back around when I get done with that. So I'm going to go ahead and drill the rest of the holes out, and then I'll demonstrate using the die for this, and then we'll proceed from there. Okay, I'm ready to set some rivets. As you can see, I've got my holes drilled through. I'm ready to put my rivets in. Actually got a dowel and a piece of sandpaper and kind of went through and took off some burrs around that. And I want to make sure my smooth side is going to be on the inside. And I did a sanity check. I just laid my knife up against it to make sure, yeah, that does look like it will probably work. And again, I'm using Gavco's method of putting the rivets in, heating it up, and then forming around the blade with all the rivets in except for the last couple of rivets where I could do my retention. And as you also notice here, I've got I went and bought an old anvil made out of a railroad tie just for some weight on a workbench. So when I do this, it will give me a better form eyelet when I do that. Little ball peen hammer here, and I want the the rivet that's already formed to be on the outside of the sheath, I'm going to tote this on my right hand side. So the blade is going to be like that. I'm going to be toting it like this, so my hip's going to be where you can't see the knife at. So what I'm going to do is just insert the rivet, and I'm going to start at the bottom and put the rivet just right there, if you can see it, through the hole here. I could have done it with my hand, probably should have, but you know, I got my rivet through. Okay, so that's through there. Now I've got this little tool that I bought, and it's just a die, so I'm going to lift it up and it just comes apart. This here is just something that keeps it lined up. And again, the anvil is only here just to make sure that when I hit it, I'll have something solid to hit against, and it won't vibrate all over my workbench. At least that's what I'm hoping. So I'm lining it up, and it feels like it's in the right place. That's down there. Feels right. I'm moving it around just a little bit. Now I'm going to go through, use my ball peen hammer, and bend that back. Should just take a couple of hits, I hope, and see if that took. And looks like it worked fairly decent there. I've got that bent back over there. That's going to be the outside of the sheath. So the knife is going to be carried like that. So that looks really good. On this side, I measured everything out like this. I'm going to be carrying it like this. The knife's going to fit in. The larger set's going to be here, and the smaller set's going to be there. That looked like that did take fairly decent. And again, I'm going to go ahead and set the rest of these rivets, and I'll come back and show you what it looks like when I've got everything set.